Welcome to the Women's Footy Podcast. I'm speaking to CJ. CJ, thank you for coming on and ask a few questions. I suppose this is a bit of a behind the scenes Q&A, but CJ.
How long do you give yourself after the game to recover versus prior to the game? What should you be doing? Because I've seen so many different things, but some people even speak about on, a Friday before a game, just quickly getting some reaction type exercises in to, work on your reaction or work on your nerve somethings. I don't even know what the right terminology is, but I've even heard some of that. But to me, that doesn't seem right if you're doing stuff in the gym on a Friday and you're playing on a Saturday. So you answered my questions.
What you're touching on is called priming, and so I would call it a CNS session. So central
Yeah.
nervous system is what CNS stands for, and it's a priming session. So I highly recommend, if you're interested in this stuff, Google priming for athletic performance and look that up. And yes, I would incorporate that on a Friday. So
Okay.
it kind of goes against what I've just said. Don't do anything on your legs. But what you're doing is you're not actually fatiguing the legs in any way. You're not even really working your muscles as much as you're working your nerves. So it's more of a neural session and you're firing up the nervous system. And so the researchers showed that doing a CNS or a priming session anywhere from like a few hours before a game to 24 hours, even sometimes a little bit longer, you can get benefits before a game, is actually really beneficial. And sometimes you can have a decline in performance by not doing this sort of thing, by peak. So if you are trying to get someone to peak for an event, for example, and just say it's grand final day, and you go
Yeah.
and get them off their legs, and they can end up getting sluggish. So you do need to kind of fire up the nervous system again. And so a priming session, like I like to generally do at 24 hours before, just for a footballer, and there's no reason why you couldn't do it the morning of it. It's probably actually best to do the morning of, but often people can't get there and do that. So what I would suggest, if you're playing on a Saturday afternoon, midday, whatever, through to Saturday night, then I would try to, on Friday afternoon after work, go and do this CNS session or this priming session. And typically that's going to be really kind of quick ballistic type movement. So it might be like a hex squat type movement where you're lifting like relatively heavy weight, but not super heavy, maybe 3/4, and you're only doing a few reps. So it might be 2 sets of, say, 3, 4, 6 reps. So let's, for simplicity, say 5 reps. And then it would then be followed by like some real quick, powerful stuff. So it might be even a box squat, say, for example, where you've got a bar on your back and you're squatting down to a box, which is not too deep. Again, I would be careful with putting bars on your back on the Friday, because then you're going to compress the spine. And like there's actually kangaroos, like back a while back in about 2013-ish, went away. A lot of AFL clubs actually went away from doing back squats and they started doing belt squats and things, or squats where they put a belt around and then a plate down and they squatted between 2 boxes. So the plate went between the 2 boxes just to get the weight off the back. So belt squats are really popular in AFL system at the moment. And I love them. Just it's really hard to find a commercial gym that actually has a belt squat. Even the Northern Territory Academy of Sport doesn't even have a belt squat. But a belt squat as a machine is where there's a belt that comes around your back. It goes between your legs at this anchor point, and then it goes down underneath the machine and back up the other side. And so you can squat, but you don't have the compression of the spine by having the bar on the back. So it's actually much better for your back, and you're purely then focusing on legs. Anyway, I'm getting off track a little bit here. But so, for example, you might be doing some kind of a squat, and that's why I like the hex bar squat type thing, because you're holding the handles on the side and squatting in between it straight into some form of a jump. So it might be a box jump, or it might be something a little bit more plyometric, true plyometric, because a box squat is not true plyometric. It's more of a power movement. Plyometric needs to have the stretch shorten reflex of the tendons. So a drop jump or a depth jump can be better. The difference between the two of them, a drop jump is where you jump off a box, probably not too high, probably no higher than about 30 centimeters, and then hit the ground really quick. You don't squat down. You hit the ground like stiff-legged and then bounce up the other side, and you can either bounce up onto something nice and small, maybe another box about 15 to 30 centimeters high if you can get that high, or even just over a line, or just up for height and not try and get onto something. sometimes going up onto something on the other side can take the purpose away of doing that, and people kind of squat down to try and get more height on the rebound jump. But it's more of a pogo, so it's purely focusing on the tendons, whereas the difference between a drop jump like that and a depth jump is you're going down for depth, so you're going into a squat and then exploding up to the other side, so it's more muscle. So you still got your tendon, but it's much more muscle. So you could do something like that. So 2 sets of 5 with like a hex bar squat into to 2 sets of 5 of the drop jumps. You might do some other stuff in there. I like to do some medicine ball stuff, but generally there's only about 4 exercises in there. Generally, it's mainly focused on legs. There might be some upper body stuff. I do like to incorporate some core stuff. And so for that reason, I would incorporate some medicine ball stuff where it might be something where it's for power. So like a medicine ball slam each side, or a rugby pass with the medicine ball, using a light medicine ball, so probably 2 to 3 kilos, so you can move it really quick. And it is about moving it quick. And again, it's not about too many reps. So it's like 5 reps type thing. Something like that, 4 exercise workout, really quick, short, sharp, is really effective for firing up the central nervous system and then getting you to perform at your peak on game day. To go back to what you said about the recovery after a game, I do like to have about the 48-hour to 72-hour if possible, but you kind of need to be doing active recovery. So if you've played on a Saturday, the next day doing a pull session or even a walk or a yoga session is going to be really beneficial to get the recovery happening. Ice bars are great, particularly if you're in a tropical climate, right after a game to lower the core temperature. Probably the most important thing is getting the water back in. If you lose, I like to get people to weigh themselves before and after a game. And what you will lose in that time is going to be water. You don't lose muscle and fat in a 2-hour game of football. So what you're losing is water. So if you weigh yourself at the start of a game, and let's just say you weigh 65 kilos, and then you weigh yourself at the end of the game and you weigh 63 kilos, you've lost 2 liters of water. So you can only absorb approximately 1 liter of water per hour. So you need to drink 2 liters of water. But if you go and have all that in the first hour, you're not going to absorb all of that. Half of it approximately is going to be excreted through urine or sweat. And a combination of sweat. So both the 2 of them. So what you need to do is drink 1 liter of water every hour for 2 hours. So, and I would probably have a little bit more. I'd maybe have 1.25 liters just to kind of go over the top a bit. And if you've lost 3 kilos, I would have 1 liter of water every hour for 3 hours. And so that's how I'd base that. So that's probably the most important thing above all else. Sleep is the number 1 performance enhancer. So getting good quality sleep is obviously good. And then, jumping into an ice bath to cool the temperature and all that. And then having the recovery benefits of the ice bath is going to be beneficial after a game. The next day, if you can't do it straight after the game, ice bath the next day is still going to be beneficial. Otherwise, or doing, as I've just said, like some form like of a pool session, a pretty easy pool session, moving in the water, maybe some swimming, but mainly just moving in the water. Some stretches in the water is going to be great. Just some like deep water running, like easy deep water running. And then, as I said, like even just walking or a yoga session is going to be great. Monday, if you're still feeling too tight, I would have it off and I would do one of those that I've just mentioned as another recovery session. Otherwise, if you're okay, then I would go into that lower body accessory workout that I alluded to in my Footy Fit program. Then, did I answer everything?
I think so. Just, yeah.
CJ, thank you so much for your time and asking these questions. Good luck with
No
your
worries.
footy.
Thank you. Bye.